Hello, everyone. Hopefully, this will probably be my last take on this. I have taken multiple takes. My mic, as of right now, is on a charger and it is dying. It's actively dying. But I'm gonna try to make this video as quick as I possibly can. And I feel like this was needed to be made a long time ago. I thought about making it a long time ago, but didn't really find a means to it. I didn't think there was much of a reason to at the time as well, because I thought this game was gonna be fine. But Ricardofication, as you guys may know, its development is discontinued. It's not looking so hot for the game. As you can see, sponsoring has stopped. Sponsoring is what kept this game alive at one point, and now it's all gone because Roblox has gotten a little bit greedier with sponsors, and Armin does not make enough money from this game to sponsor it. So indefinitely, it's gonna kill off the game. Right now, I mean, I know it's early in the morning, but we're sitting at 2 players. I swear sometimes at 3 p.m. or so, I would check the game and there's nobody playing. This game, it's over with. This is an end of an era for a good game at one point that made a lot of people's childhoods. I'd say even mine, because I had a lot of fun playing this game. That's the whole reason why I'm here now, speaking to all of you as the community manager at one point, I guess. But anyways, that's a whole another thing. But I'm making this video to tell you guys why everything fell apart, and I want to try to make it as fast as possible, but if you don't want to sit through it, you don't have to. I'll just sit through this whole entire little TED Talk. That's all this video is just going to be about. And yeah. Anyway, so getting into the details of how it all started. 2 years ago. I'd say 2 years ago is how it all started. Because during this time, everything was doing okay. Before, I think I'm saying 2 years. It might have been 3 years ago, for all I know. But it feels like 2 years. I'd say probably around 3 now. But, excuse me. I would say 3 years. I'm just going to say 3, somewhere around there, 3 to 2 years. 3 years ago, we were doing pretty well on Ricardofication. I wasn't developing then, but this was before Armin left. There was around 100 players, 150 a day, and then at nighttime there was either like 50 to 20 players playing, and he had different admins at the time. It was Chips and Mar. They were looking after the game and looking over everything and moderating, and Armin, of course, was the main developer. He was the only person developing the game, and Romley was the one who made the music for the game. Now, I would say when Armin left, which is what caused it to ultimately fail, because after that year was up, when he came back, because he was busy with stuff he had to do in his life, the game just kind of wasn't doing too hot when he came back, and he didn't want to develop anymore. He didn't want to play games anymore, and he had some other stuff going on in his life that just, this passion project wasn't going to be continued, most likely. After a while of me hanging out with Armand when he came back, say about like a good few months in, I decided that I was going to try to see if I can push him into continuing the game, which he did. But it was only smaller updates, and I ended up becoming an admin. And when I became an admin, I started hosting events and stuff for Ricardofication. I'm pretty sure some of you guys probably partook in them. It's frozen in time now, the events page on Intera. But that was fun. It added roleplay aspect to the game and whatnot, and it was a nice little change up for things. But while that was happening, uh, I was, let me think. Like I said, I was an admin. Armin was updating the game. He was adding new admin guns. He was adding new admin stuff for himself, but not really much with the game. There was a few patches, maybe a few slight changes of something, but nothing ultimately that was different. And that was a problem. The one thing that was going to be changed about that is, I would say, a little bit even longer in, probably like a few more months in. I don't know the exact time frame of all this, but monorail was going to be made. And Armin was making this project really slowly. He was probably making it every now and then whenever he had the motivation to. And at the same time, I had a PC at this moment, and I wanted to make a Roblox game. I learned that Armin was making Monorail, and I wanted to make a game of my own that was similar to Ricardofication, which is going to be turning out still to dysmorphophobia. I'll talk about that near the ending, so it's a little bit more organized in this video. But that was a game I was making with Kanto at the time. But anyway, I ended up offering Armin help with Monorail. And so he said yes, because he was like, you know how to furnish buildings and whatnot, so I think it'd be pretty cool for you to decorate this. So he gave me the assets to it, and I decorated Monorail's building. But then it turned into a decorate this small building to me asking him if I could just help with the whole monorail in general. Like, add all the objects into it and decorate it. So he agreed. He said yes. That's what I did. I started building monorail. This is all to my knowledge, what I can remember from the timeline. It might be different. The monorail update might have came out, and then I got disconnected for being idle. I'm sure I'll reconnect. But we might have made monorail first. I can't remember if we made monorail first and then made all the decorations afterwards. But what ended up basically happening was monorail ended up killing the game. Either way, no matter what. Because I got developed into the game. I started doing stuff with the game then. And that was a problem because Armin was afraid of change. He didn't want to change much about Ricardofication, which in the end shows why. I was a developer who didn't know much of what he was doing. So was Kanto, but we were having fun. And we wanted to help with the game. We wanted to build more with the game. We wanted to just do more with the game in general. Because, as many may know, whenever you played Ricardofication, it was the same gameplay loop of running around in circles, grabbing guns, dying, and losing all your items to hopefully get all the items in the game and to just run around and hopefully not die when trying to help other people play the game. It wasn't much fun to be had. I'd update the game and make changes so that the gameplay loop was ultimately kind of broken, like, of the current gameplay loop. I wanted to add more challenges into the game and see how players would react. I wanted to experiment with the game and throw stuff in there and just say, Hail Mary it, and be like, if the players don't like it, we'll change it. But we need to see what players like and what they don't like in order to make a change. We can't just play around with it a little bit and just not add any changes at all. Armin didn't like that idea. He wanted to keep the game the same way it was, but just add in updates after a while, which is a good idea. It's just the way I thought of it was just Hail Mary it. because I didn't like the gameplay loop of Ricardofication and how it was played. It just wasn't fun. At least I believe so, and I think a lot of other people agreed whenever I talked to them about it. So that's why I did in the first place. If I was seeing that I was the only one who thought this way, then I wouldn't have. Because that's just selfish. And I'm changing the game for nothing then. Like, there's no point in changing the game for only myself so I could enjoy the game. But me, Kanto, and Armand, after helping out Monorail a little bit, we ended up developing the game together, us three. And it got to a point where we started arguing with Armand, me and Kanto, because Armand had this weird tendency of allowing us to work on the game, but he wouldn't do much. And I think the reason why is because he was worried. He was worried that the changes in the game, or he would just affect with something and ruin our friendship or something. I don't know what it was. He's really hard to talk to sometimes and understand. But in general, when we were developing together, it was a mix of fighting, or not fighting, but arguing between me and Armand most of the time, and Kanto just sitting around in the background being very mutual about the situation. I wanted to make changes to the game, and Armand usually denied most of those changes, and that caused a big situation to happen. We were developing Monorail one time, me and Kanto, and instead of continuing our game, we ended up helping Armand instead, on my decision. I wish I gave Kanto more of a decision there, so we could still continue our game, and I didn't try to live through Armand's game. But that's what I ended up doing in general, and one of the big reasons why it fell. Anyway, where I'm getting to is that when we were helping out Armand, there was issues because we didn't have the actual access to the files of the game. Not like the files, we didn't need that, but we didn't have access to the game, so any changes we made weren't live. I had issues with this because whenever I would make a change, I would have to make sure all of them were implemented correctly, and if they weren't, I'd ask Armin to fix them, or I'd notice in the next update and just not care enough to make the change. And that was big to me, because I could make a funny teaser for the Vibe keycard, because a lot of people hated that. Like, you throw in the Vibe keycard somewhere, like, how do you get this? How do you get this stupid keycard? And it was fun. I wanted to do stuff like that. It was, or like make honeypots for, you know, those pesky exploiters or something. It was something just a little extra to put into the game, and it was like a funny thing. If Armin didn't win the final game, it wasn't going in the game, even if me and Kanto thought it was a good idea. So there wasn't much communication, and Armin wouldn't usually say if he wasn't going to put something in the game. Sometimes I think he did it on purpose and was just like, didn't say anything. Like, he didn't put something in the game on purpose and was just like, I'm not going to say anything because I want to act like I forgot. So I want to cause conflict. So that was another one of the issues with the development team that we had. There's just too much arguing between me and Armand and not getting along. So me and Kanto decided to work on our own game, and we left Armand to continue his game. We left in Terra. Me and Kanto left in Terra. We weren't liking the backlash of like the monorail update and whatnot, and like how everything was going. And it was going okay, actually. Monorail update wasn't horrible, but it did kind of get out of hand in the end. But we didn't leave it because of that reason, mainly the community. We mainly left because of how difficult it was to develop with Armand. And eventually we decided to come back to the game, and my decision, not Kanto's. Kanto was happy. He was happy we weren't developing for Ricardofication. As many of you may know that are in Intera, he he had a lot of issues with the players there. But he was sticking around for me. That's the reason why Kanto was there. He was just there for me. But we came back, and when we came back, we were working on the maintenance update. And around this time, Armin was shocked. He was kind of out of it because of leaving him. I left him and Tara, and me and Kanto left him without saying anything. And we had our little friendship group. It was me, him, and Armand. Well, me, Kanto, and Armand. And we'd play games together. We would do like a lot of things together. Play Zomboid, anything along those lines. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun at the time, and we had a really good friendship circle. But development ended up ruining that because I wanted to make so many changes to Ricardofication. My mental health was degrading, like really bad at that time too. And I took a lot of it out on Armin because I didn't want to take it out on Kanto because of it's really messed up to say it like this because I cared a lot about Armin too, but I was taking out on Armin. I was taking all out on Armin, all my anger, and I didn't want to take any of it out on Kanto. That's the last thing I wanted to do. So Armin was the other person who was there, and due to the way he was acting towards us, had trust issues and whatnot, it was hard for me not to, because I was just very passionate about this game. I was more passionate than him at this rate. And I knew that going in, but I still treated it poorly. I knew he needed help with the game, and that's why I was there. And I kind of forgot about that reason. I was there to help him, not make the game what I wanted it to be. It was more of a selfish issue, I guess. A lot of it was. But the biggest downfall of the game was the situation with Kanto, I think, is what ultimately caused everything to fall. Because me and Kanto's relationship, and I'd also hate to say this, I think development was another issue of this, is why me and him got so distant. Me and Kanto would work on Ricardofication a lot, and then we work on other games a lot. Or not work on other games a lot, but we would work on our game. We would work on Ricardofication, or we would just play games together, and it wasn't enough of just like me and him just being together and just having our own time. Instead, we would do all this other stuff, and we would become very distant. And eventually, I ended up making a really stupid mistake. And if he does see this video, he would kill me for even saying that. But that mistake was cheating. And that's what I did. So when that happened, it was very bad. Life was very hard for me. It still is. After losing him. Dog barking in the background. Sorry if this is gonna be picking up. They might start barking like crazy in a minute, but I won't be able to edit my videos. I miss him. I miss him dearly. He probably doesn't even think I do at this rate, but I made a really stupid decision in my life that changed everything and made more of an impact to others around me than just being myself or being selfish. But just know, as a lesson from this video, I guess, that cheating is never an option in a relationship. You should never do it. Don't do anything stupid. If you don't love the person you're with, just make an agreeable decision to leave. Don't hurt them more than you can. Or it's hard to find a way to put that. But I'm still recovering from this, but it's slow. It's slow. There's a lot. But this is not what the video's about. But that was just a big issue that happened that caused the downfall of this game as well. When me and Kanto broke up, it was basically development was over for a while. I was completely out of it. Armin was there helping me, and he was basically taking care of me for a good little bit, and which he shouldn't have because of what I did to Kanto with the cheating. And things were just kind of sucky then. So development stopped entirely, and eventually we reverted all the changes back to the old Ricardofication, the one from 3 years ago. It ultimately went nowhere, and it was like a full circle. Just nothing. We did nothing, basically. I even ended up making Armin revert his own changes. Monorail was his update. It was what he was going to make for the game. And I ruined it. I ruined a lot of things, I'd hate to say. I ruined Ricardofication. I ruined my friendship with Armin. I ruined my relationship with Kanto. And I deserve every bit of this. And I probably even deserve the hate from you guys that I would receive. But that's up for you guys to decide. Anyway, with that, Ricardofication is done for. It's not being continued. The game was reverted, as I said, to the version it was like 3 years ago. Armin doesn't even have my animations in the game anymore, but he still has my name in the description, which it shouldn't be. It should be Mars. I have nothing to do with the game in this current version. I have nothing to do with it. But anyway, so if you guys are going to be saying, what now? I'm planning on making a game myself. Siding with the villain, right? the person who ruins the game and then makes his own game. But I'm hoping to do right by making this game. It wasn't my plan to ever ruin Ricardofication. I just want to make the game better. And ultimately, I just ruined everything. And it was nothing that I want. I didn't want any of that. As I said. But I'm making my own game, which is Dysmorphophobia. Romley is helping me with the music. And another developer is helping me with the scripting. They are both very talented people. I'm going to be directing the game in the direction that hopefully will be the best decision for it. The game is going to take a while to make because this is my passion project now, and I'm hoping it goes somewhere. But I only have weekends to work on this because, of course, I'm working on days that aren't the weekends. You all could help by supporting me in ways you can think by just watching this video in general. One biggest way to support me to try to continue dysmorphophobia, or not just to continue it, but to speed up the process, because I want to make the game still, is I need a clothing developer. So I'm looking for right now. I also need another developer, which I'm trying to think to the top of my head. Oh, I don't need another developer besides a clothing one as of right now. My current scripter I have, he's just busy. So it's going to take a while for the game to actually get on a rolling pace because he's busy with stuff in his life. But when that gets cleared up, I'll be able to go ahead and start, excuse me again, making updates with him. But that's really all for dysmorphophobia. It's going to be similar to Ricardofication in a game called Prey. That's my plans, at least. And it's going to be a little bit more on the brutal side. It's going to be a grittier game. And that's what I wanted Ricardofication to be. What I wanted it to be. Not Armin. Maybe Armin did want it to be that way, but I don't know for sure. It's really hard to speak to him. And recently, I will say this has been unorganized and off topic now, but mine and Armin's friendship is ultimately possibly be over. I'm going to be leaving in Terra, and I gotta speak to Armin about what we're going to do, because I don't know if our friendship is going to continue or what's going to happen, but I hurt him a lot with the short summary I gave you. It hurt him, and I didn't know I was hurting him as much as I did. I wasn't aware of it, actually, because he wasn't verbal enough with it, much like he wasn't verbal enough with Ricardofication. That's why he made me the community manager. He had me speak to you guys because he just didn't put himself out there like I do. So everyone could hate me instead of him. That's not really the reason why. That's not really the reason why. But that's just usually what happens with community managers. People will pick on the moderators and whatnot instead of the other people. That's another reason why me and Kento didn't have enough fun making the game. Because people didn't really respect us. They did with Armand or Rom Lee. If they joined the game, they'd be super happy and whatnot. If me and Kanto joined the game, it's just like, oh, there's those guys. There's those guys. We weren't doing it for recognition. Me and Kanto weren't doing it for recognition. I wanted to make a game that people could enjoy more than they were currently enjoying it, because the dislike ratio in this game was crazy. It still is. It's gotten worse. There just wasn't enough people showing love to this game, and the passion project was just kind of finished off the way it was. Anyway, dysmorphophobia. The game, I'm going to try to push it as much as I possibly can to its limits. I'm going to throw this game around, and I'm going to try my best to get a game that's really nice on Roblox after so many ages of having terrible games. As you know, Roblox games are just simulators. I don't play Roblox anymore because of it. It's just so boring. It's a waste of time. I'm hoping to make a game that has a story, that tells a really good story, and that has some pretty fun gameplay too. Anyway, enough glazing dysmorphophobia. I just wanted to tell you guys that this was the game that I was wanting to make, but this is not the main part of it. The main part of it was just talking about Ricardofication and what happened to it. And I'm sorry. I really am. But sorry isn't gonna fix this game. as you may know. Anyway, this is a short summary of what happened to Ricardofication. I may have left out some topics. I'll watch back this video and I'll probably look at it and I'll be like, man, I forgot to mention that. But there's only so much that I can think of right now on the top of my head, but these are the main points of what happened to the game. There's a lot of other stuff. I'm just saying the bigger parts. There's smaller parts that contributed to the downfall of this game. Some would be in the community. The community of Ricardofication wasn't that great either. There was a lot of toxicity and stuff that was being thrown around, and so much so that people would coast all the time and like just ruin the game for new players. So the game just got new players to lose them because they didn't want to stay and deal with a game that was like this. That's just a theory, though. A game thing. No, I'm not mad at that. Anyways, everyone, that'll be all for this video. Me explaining what happened to Ricardofication. Lastly, I wanted to say that I am planning on continuing making videos as well as a side little thing for fun, mainly. Maybe for money later on. But I just want to do it for fun, as of right now. I want to make videos so people can have me watch me playing my favorite games. So if you want to be a part of that, and you want to be here to support me, for any reason, after all this stuff I just told you, you're making here at the end of this video. Everyone makes mistakes, just remember that. My mistake was massive, though. But sometimes that's all that takes.
Warning, gas leak detected at experimental gas storage.
Anyway, I hope you guys will be here for my next videos to come. I just released a video not too long ago. I'm saying it was literally this morning, the same morning, I made a video on Cry of Fear. I want to make a Let's Play series out of that game. Maybe Subnautica too. Or maybe some other games that I really like. Maybe even Prey. If you want to be around here for that, I'd much appreciate it. I'll see you all in either next video. But as of Intera, I won't be around in Intera anymore after this video. I'll probably post it there, but this will be it. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.